Hello, everybody, and welcome to another movie review, where today I am doing a movie review on Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, where, first off, I just want to state, what a surprise movie of the year. This movie, to me, when I heard it, I'm like, ooh, I'm interested in it. It has a good cast. I thought it was going to be enjoyable, but I did not think I was going to like this movie as much as I ended up liking it, which is saying a lot because I watch a lot of movies, and some movies like Scream 6, I had pinned how much I would like it. And then other movies like Shazam 2 and Honor Among Thieves, I knew I'd like it. Like Shazam 2, I knew I'd like it. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. And definitely this one, I would not have pinned myself liking this more than some other movies this year, in particular, which it's hard for me to compare these movies because I like a lot of variation of movies, and I don't like comparing like horror movies to action comedy movies because they're completely different genres. Now, I say you could compare this to Shazam 2 because they're both action comedies. I say you could compare those, and I think my first thought was I didn't like this one as much as Shazam 2, but that might change a little bit. I might actually like this more than Shazam 2. But before I continue on with the movie review, I do want to state I'm going to be trying something new today. On my right side, I have a Google Docs document open where I have the text-to-speech option going, and it's taking all the words I say and writing them down onto a document so I can take them and turn them into subtitles. I need to find a good option to be able to take everything I'm saying and put them into a subtitle format, especially in a video like this where it's all talking, because I don't want to just have to go through and start typing out every single word I'm saying. Not going to go over too well, but that's okay. Either way. First off, the cast of this movie. We have not only Chris Pines, Michelle Rodriguez, Justice Smith, Sophia Lillis, Hugh Grant. I don't know how to pronounce the other guy's name. I apologize. This is a star-studded cast, and I'm so impressed. The last time I remember seeing Justice Smith was Pokemon Detective Pikachu, which I really liked him, and I'm like, this man's an upcoming actor. I saw him in something else, too, and I'm like, I like this guy. I want to see him in more. Thank you, computer. Yeah, sorry. That's probably not going away in editing. And I'm sorry. It's my computer has a fan dying, I think, and I need to get it fixed. I'm hoping to get it fixed in the next couple of days here. So I apologize. My computer has also started freezing up, which would make sense if it's overheating, so I do need to figure out the fan situation soon. I'm also trying to get a new computer. I hope a gaming computer for gaming in particular. If I can find that computer. I found a website that has customized computers, and I'm actually interested in looking into that. But anyways, so I didn't realize how much I wanted Chris Pine in another kind of star role, if you know what I mean. And I wouldn't call him the only leading role in this movie because Michelle Rodriguez is there for like 99% of the runtime too. There's very select moments that does not have Michelle Rodriguez in it, and she is amazing in the movie. Her and Chris Pine together make a great duo on the screen. They work really, really well together. And parts of this movie, even though looked really, really cool, they were very stereotypical moments in movies. Like, I was watching this with some other people, and I looked to one of them at one point when something was going to happen towards the end of the movie, and why is the Google Doc stopping? Why is it stopping? That's no bueno. Well, oh well. I don't think the Google Docs is going to work, so that's fine. So scratch what I said earlier about that. I'm not going to stop this review at this point. I'll have to figure out how to do it later. But there was a point when I looked over, and when I looked over, we both, actually the person next to me was like, I know what's going to happen. And I thought about it right before the person told me. And I was like, yep. And some of the things in this movie are very predictable, but that did not ruin the movie for me. To be fair, I also put that down to the fact that I watch a lot of movies and I see a lot of different storylines play out. And no matter what, even most of the big budget movies, which from my understanding, by the way, Dungeons & Dragons had a larger budget than Shazam 2 had, which is kind of crazy. It definitely shows, though, don't get me wrong, and it's definitely worthwhile, don't get me wrong either. This movie looks gorgeous, and I've never really been into wizards all that much, and that kind of thing that this movie focuses on. But I really liked it. The enemy design in this movie, there's several different creatures that appear throughout the runtime. And Sophia Lillis, and the character that she is, I don't remember what they call her. Again, I'm not a Dungeons & Dragons. I've never played Dungeons & Dragons, so unfortunately, I'm not fully in the know with all the terminology and different character names and role names and stuff like that. But she turns into the owl bear in the trailer, and she turns into several other different creatures throughout the movie. And I was so impressed by the CGI and how fluently the CGI was able to go in between the different animals and creatures. And the comedy worked so well. So well. There's a scene in one of the trailers that they show, which I'm very sad that they showed it in the trailer, but it was still good because it was the last sequence of the trailer, and they showed the entirety of the scene, from most of the joke, from start till finish of that joke. And unfortunately, that was like one of the best jokes in the film. It's this section where they go to a graveyard, and I'll call it that, even though it's not exactly a graveyard. But I'll call it that to not have any plot spoilers put into this, because they do go there for a plot reason, so I will not specify that. But they go to this graveyard to talk to a dead person, and they bring the dead person back, but they only have 5 questions. And he says his first question, and then he keeps accidentally phrasing a question to someone else, and the dead guy responds using up one of his questions, and then someone else says something, the guy responds, and then they run through the 5 questions immediately. And it's hilarious. It's great. It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's charming even. And there's a joke involving someone named Jonathan, and I love the joke. Like, this movie was genuinely funny from beginning to end, and when this releases again publicly, I'm probably gonna go watch it. And publicly meaning its full theatrical release, I should say, because it has released publicly already, just limited variations of ways to do it. Because this Sunday, for example, which might be previously already, the way to watch it then is going to be buying tickets, at least for my general theater area. This showing would be buying tickets through Atom Tickets. And you'd have to buy it directly through there. It's sponsored by Amazon Prime, I believe. And then that's how you're going to be able to get to watch that there. Very appreciative that they were able to do this and that they were able to share this movie early. And honestly, it only happens rare occasionally that they do this. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish did it. Again, they had a public showing in November that I went to. And then this one, and I have to say, movies only ever do this if they're 100% positive about the movie that they have. They know the movie's great. They know it hits hard, and they know that people will come watch it early, and they know those people probably will even come watch it again after it releases, theatrically. And they are not wrong. Like, I want to go watch this movie again right now, to be honest with you, now that I'm thinking about it again, and I just can't. There's no feasible way to do that, because if you don't know how movie theaters work in particular, keys lock away the films, and the studios lock away the keys. So the movie theaters can't play the content until the studios allow them to. So there's literally no way for, since Paramount does not want this movie's theatrical release to be until the 31st, there's no way to watch or to go pay to watch this movie any earlier than the early access screenings. Which is okay. It's just, it's hard when you enjoy a movie not being able to watch it again. Which is also why I'm thankful that, when I saw Puss in Boots: Last Wish in November, I really liked it. You can go check out my movie review. But if you check out that movie review and you compare it to how enthusiastic about the film I am now, they're vastly different tones. Like, I had a massive tonal shift in how much I enjoy that movie. And it didn't happen until its theatrical release, which I very much appreciate, because that way I didn't have this long, drawn-out time where I was forced not to watch that film. I will go watch this film again. Honestly, I hope we get a sequel to this. I hope it makes enough money and that Paramount says that it's worthwhile. I gotta say, Paramount is on a roll this year already, with Scream 6 and Dungeons & Dragons in the same month. And here's the real kicker. It doesn't really matter what order they release this movies in. Originally, Dungeons & Dragons was supposed to release where Scream 6 released, and Scream 6 was supposed to release at the end of March. But I think they made the right decision. Because, to be honest, Dungeons & Dragons is releasing closer to spring break for most schools, at least in the general area. That, in the general week area that spring break will be. There are some schools that'll be off the week of Dungeons & Dragons, and then there will be schools that get off the following week for the Mario movie. And to me, it's highly impressive, because originally they were going to have Scream 6 releasing on that week, which wouldn't really have helped at all. And not saying that Dungeons & Dragons wouldn't have done well in the original spot it was in, but which is probably why they're doing the early access showings, because they don't really care about the fact that because they were going to release the film. The film's been done. Like, the film's sitting there. They're just waiting for the release. That's happened a lot with films this year. That there are films that just kind of sit there and are completely finished and are just waiting for the theatrical release. And I know that Puss in Boots: Last Wish was done in, like, September of last year, and they held it till December. Like, imagine sitting on a film that you're proud of and just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the release of the film. It's kind of crazy, to be honest, that they they have to keep these things so hidden under lock and key, and I'm impressed that they even do, being completely finished as well, which I'm impressed with. It takes a lot of secrecy, obviously, but it's still highly impressive. But despite that, I don't know, it's interesting. This movie is, I think I mentioned before, charming, but at the same time, it can be heartbreaking. There's a storyline in this that that really kind of hits hard. And even though I predicted something that was going to happen within the storyline, I still ended up shedding a tear. Not too heavily, but I still ended up shedding a tear. And it was because of the little details. You know, when you watch a movie like Puss in Boots, for example, The Last Wish, I will not stop comparing movies to it. You're probably going to hear me compare movies to a lot. If that bugs you, I apologize, but it's me, so I will do it. When you find little details in movies and you can complete the story in your head, then it is highly impressive. Because it's always good to find the little secret things you can rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. But when you catch something on the first viewing of a movie and you're like, look, haha, I did it. You just genuinely, enjoy it. For example, if I go look at my Letterboxd Dungeons and Dragons review, which I do have a Letterboxd, do Maestro, no space. Genuinely a good movie, I said. I've never played D&D. It was funny, action-filled, decently slow at times as well. What? I said, I do feel like it felt a little king. A little king? I think I meant to say long. A little king. That's great. There you go. The acting was very good. I state that, and I do believe it was very good. It had some twists and turns and some very obvious moments that I could predict, as I've stated already. Very well paced and very well written. It's sometimes, comedy is hit or miss a lot of the time. And sometimes you have to try to balance how much comedy you have in a movie. And this movie somehow perfects the ability to have comedy not just a little bit through it, but constantly. There is a lot of comedy in this movie. It is very heavily comic relief, and from my understanding, that's kind of how Dungeons & Dragons is as well. Whoever the Dungeon Master is, can... Because, the scene where he's talking to the dead person and asking questions, someone that I was watching with mentioned that's exactly how they would do it if they were the Dungeon Master. They would mess with people, you know? If they're talking to them, asking questions, you'd answer the question. And then that would be one question used up. So, from my understanding, too, this is very accurate to how a D&D game would go in a very movie format. Which is also extremely impressive, if true. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. That's completely fine. And I gotta say, though, I'm kind of glad that the twists and turns in this movie can be predictable. Because, frankly, when it comes down to it, you can have twists and turns, you can make them good, but you can also make them bad. And in certain movies, twists and turns are there for shock. M. Night Shyamalan a lot of the time has twists and turns. Except in some movies, Sixth Sense and Signs, where it adds up, which is impressive. So, and I'm glad it wasn't a twist turn, because you have Old as well, where the twist in Old was not really that good, and I can very much categorize that as a twist where, excuse me, it was all about shock factor. And frankly, and I hate to say this, but sometimes you don't need a twist. And I know that a lot of people probably disagree with me saying, I hate to say it, but I enjoy the M. Night Shyamalan movies with twists. And I really enjoy having that trying to figure out what's going to happen motif. Same thing with Scream. But sometimes you just need a genuinely good action film and enjoy the characters. Now, I also have not talked about Hugh Grant yet. And I just gotta say, wonderful as always. Everything Hugh Grant is in. Operation Fortune recently. Paddington 2, of course, which you cannot not mention when you mention Hugh Grant. And this movie. There it goes again. Sorry. That's my computer. Ignore it. Apologies. Fan out. Need to fix it. Or fan dying. Need to fix it. Either way. But I genuinely enjoy this movie. And I genuinely enjoy Hugh Grant in this movie. I feel like this is another great acting performance adding to his repertoire. He is a comedian, a gold comedian. He is great at comedy. It's a joke I think I mentioned involving Jonathan, which it's one of those jokes where they do it once and then much, much later they come back to the joke and it's hilarious. And it's great. I was dying of laughter. It's such a well-made movie. I want to go watch it again right now. And I will. Not going to lie. I will go watch it again. Probably its opening week, as I also have some time off from work. So I'm hoping I should be able to go watch that again. Sorry, hold on a second. Just sending a message. But either way, this is a good movie. I'm glad to say that March has been a very good time for Movies March 2023. I don't really know if we've had any bad movies this month. Because Creed 3 was great. I haven't done a movie review for that, but it was great. And then what came after Creed 3? There was so much this month. Scream. Yeah, Scream. Great. Scream 6 was great. I love Shazam 2, and I've loved Dungeons & Dragons. There's only one other movie this month, which is also kind of weird. I watched them out of order, which is also weird. John Wick Chapter 4 is the next one I have to watch. It's going to annoy me. It's going to annoy me that I watched Dungeons & Dragons before John Wick since of the release schedule, public release schedule, theatrical release schedule. I keep on changing the terminology. It's a theatrical release schedule. Why am I changing the terminology of this? That's going to bug me too. But if you get a chance to go watch this before its official release date, go ahead. There's going to be very limited availability to do so, granted. But if you do it. It's worth it. If you don't, go watch it when it releases. You know? This is a PG-13 movie. I think it's good for the family. There's definitely some swearing. Not the words you typically count as swearing, but from what I've learned, they're technically counted as swear words, which is always something new when you find out words you did not realize were swear words are swear words. So, but that's okay. Either way, Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. But first, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Sorry, I have to remember to give my review. 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Love the movie. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. Notifications kept popping up on my phone. I have to flip my phone upside down like this when I start recording so that I can't see the screen so I don't get distracted. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Here's the thing. We're a team of thieves. And when you do this, you're bound to make enemies. Sometimes those enemies come looking for revenge. Truth be told, we helped the wrong person steal the wrong thing. We didn't mean to unleash the greatest evil the world has ever known. But we're gonna fix it.
So how do we pull that off? Figure it out over a drink?
Probably best.
You need Kool-Aid.
To give us a fighting chance, we're gonna need strength. You got this, right?
I know you don't.
I'm gonna send
We also need courage,
you back to school.
magic, and you. What is that again? It's an owl bear.
Let's go.
Be warned. There is evil here.
I'm glad he's on our side.
Want a whole lot of love.
This one's dangerous. But whatever happens, we'll be ready.
What is it exactly that you bring to this?
I'm a planner. I make plans.
You've already made the plan, so
If the existing plan fails, I make a new plan.
you make plans that fail.
No,
He also plays the lute.
not relevant.
Want a whole lot of love.